When people think of Gamay, they often think about Beaujolais. Also, Gamay you can find in Touraine, you find in Switzerland, you find almost in every wine region of the world. That's an early bloomer. It's an interesting grape with always carry a great color. And every winemaker in every country tried that. But remember that in South Africa, when we look at the figures, Gamay was a prominent cultivar in the 50s, just after the war. And it takes someone like Alex Dale from Radford Dale and his team, Jacques and Edouard, to bring Gamay in the limelight on the front. So we're tasting a Radford Dale, the Antidote 2019 wine of origin Stellenbosch. What do you think, Cathy?
I love this wine. It is so individual.
It's not a question about liking, it's describing the wine for our competitors.
Sorry, okay. So when we, as you mentioned, when we think Gamay, we automatically think Beaujolais. And to a large degree, when we think Beaujolais, we think Beaujolais Nouveau. And I have to admit that in the early 90s, when I was getting into wine in South Africa, Gamay and Beaujolais Nouveau was this style of Gamay that was made. But there are many very serious producers of Gamay Noir in Beaujolais, and they have the crus, and these crus deliver fruit that is not fermented Nouveau style, that is under carbonic maceration techniques. These are just made as a still white wine. In fact, like
red wine,
as they would make in Burgundy. So what do you get in this glass? The color is definitely on the lighter spectrum. So it's not your Cabernet Merlot Shiraz color, translucent, you can see through it, but it lacks the blue of Pinotage and it lacks the brick red of Nebbiolo. On the nose, it is incredibly spicy. And I think that's picking up both from the grape, but also from the barrels in which this wine is aged.
Which is very unusual to see Gamay going through barrel aging.
Very, very unusual. I mean, they do it in Beaujolais for the crus, but it's much older oak, and I think this also, though, is enlarged.
I think it's old oak as well. I don't find
no
any
new
hint
vanilla kind of stuff. It's just the spiciness. So it's incredibly spicy, but it's got a lot of red fruit underpinning that spice. Slightly on the savoury side. And then a fantastic acidity with cherry, almost cranberry acidity, packed with
the
red
cherry
fruits,
comes first and the cranberry comes behind,
after
supported
it.
by the acidity.
So there's all the red cherries, the cranberries, that real acidity, that brightness, the verve. It's really a wine that is ultra juicy and fruity, but not in a sweet fruity way again.
Oh no, I don't find any sweetish fruit there.
Sweetish fruit
no
on
cooked
this
fruit
side.
there.
Absolutely.
Alcohol is still very much under control.
Quite pure,
very pure.
linear, and I think you mentioned something about it reminded you of volcanic soil, fruit from volcanic soil. Which is almost, I think it does give you that purity and that linearity to the wine. But we have no volcanic soil.
But the question here is, would you find Gamay at the first sight?
No. I think here I would be doing process of elimination, which is always a good way to go. And I'd look at
What cannot it be?
What can it not be? And it can't be Cabernet, and it can't be Merlot, and it can't be Shiraz, and it can't be Grenache Noir, and it's not speaking Pinotage to me. So if you think of the grape varieties that we're looking at for this edition, it had to be your Gamay.
Because then you have some freshness and purity of fruit. Yes, the color is not the violet you find on some Beaujolais, but it's what you can find on some, like I said, volcanic soil, what you can find on some Morgon or some Moulin à Vent, which are wine as well that can age. People think Beaujolais Nouveau, this banana and very reductive
candy floss
aromatics, but it's not because they said they would cut the head of anyone planting Gamay in Burgundy in the old days that Gamay is not a noble cultivar. And that's a proof that Stellenbosch is actually the place in South Africa, probably the only place where you can make great Gamay to that extent.
I think so. And I think that I would hazard a guess that it's called the Antidote because it's the antithesis of the Nouveau style.
It's, I mean, as much as I can remember the Beaujolais Nouveau style, which is just a fruit bomb.
Well, bubble gum.
And
yeah.
bubble gum. And here we are on a very elegant red wine to the extent that finding the cultivar is not the easiest.
Not the easiest.
But it's a great wine.
It's a lovely wine.
There's balance, there's freshness, there's the acidity on the finish that makes it lingering on the palate, enhancing the red fruits. Beautiful wine.
Good wine.